Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Docu Sweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, but through our own lens, which can be British, Southampton, Welsh. It can be very London. It could be upper class, lower class, Downton Abbey, upstairs, downstairs. But at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet. I'm just kidding. Hi.
Hi! So, if you didn't know, if you couldn't tell by that intro, we are talking 90 Day Fiancé UK Season 3 or Series 3, Episode 1. Wow, so good. It's just out the gate. I love that they gave us both perspectives immediately. The way that they do
Yes,
the UK series is it's better. It's different producers. It's like,
wildly.
yeah, it's different producers. It's not the Matt Sharp group. I don't think it's produced by Matt Sharp. Like it's just a different feel. And
Hmm.
it's great. I watched series 1 and I'm so happy that the couple that we didn't meet this episode, the one who has the baby, she was on season 1 and or season 2 she was on. And she's a crazy cat.
Yeah. The music they use is so vastly different in between couples. I mean, they do a lot of like symphony music of like critter forest kind of music. Deep, 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 deep. Like it's a lot of like, like
Doop-a-dee-doo,
yeah,
like that.
yeah. The music is just so different from like, 90 Day Fiance will give us like, here's a version of, like like Harry style singing something, but it's like, just like B-level music that's like YouTube audio friendly. This one is just like symphonies. It's so interesting. And then yeah, like I also we get to see like the subtle cultural differences that is somewhat similar of like the American whatever fiance, but like enough different that it's fun to see because like British people will get a different kind of television that Americans get, and like they can do different things on their television. One time I saw this. They can show whatever they want. There was like a dating naked show where people just picked people's like based upon their bodies. It's wild what they do on British television. They don't do. I mean, this show is tame.
I see what you're saying, but I don't know if that's actually the BBC like one or if it's like the Channel 10. You know what I mean? Like I think that like the BBC, the British Broadcasting Channel, like has different channels that show different things because even they show like the RuPaul the drag race. They show the RuPaul's drag race on the BBC, but when I see like people from the UK drag race, they're like, this is the BBC. We must be tamed. And I'm like, I've seen some really weird, interesting things that happen upon the BBC, which wouldn't happen on our network stations here in the States. So all right. Overall, I think this is going to be a great season. And I love the fact that for the most part, what I've seen from these folks, only like most of the people can travel to the UK for some reason. And maybe certain countries, like I haven't seen somebody in Colombia, like maybe that's that guy. But like, Johan the second can't come to UK, but
Johan.
the Filipino lady is in Cyprus or
Hmm.
Sirius
Hmm.
or somewhere.
Hmm.
So
Sirius
she's
Satellite
the
Radio. Hmm.
yeah, because and I'm like, oh my God, is she there because she's like a working mom? There's like a whole culture, unfortunately, of Filipino women who have to leave the Philippines and go to like Western countries to work. And so they can send money back. And for the most part, they don't necessarily come back for like years and years and years because they can never truly afford to. So I was like, is she doing that? Is she like house city keeping, or I mean, like somebody's whatever, and that's why she still wants money to send back home? I don't know. But anyways, let's jump right in. Let's start with Charlotte and Johan the second.
That she says Johan.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's 34.
I did not think that was that here, but when she said that she was turning 30, I was like, wow, I thought you were going to say 40, but you said 30.
So, and she's from Southampton and Hampshire. Anyway,
I don't
Hampshire.
know what that means, but wherever it is,
She
it's the summertime. Okay, it is a
Yes.
summertime on the Isles of the British Isles. Okay.
Yes, and you know what? Honestly, I just had this conversation and I was ignorant because I was like, do they even have convertibles in the UK? Is like literally what I thought to myself, just not nary yesterday, because I was driving a Rolls Royce convertible and I was like, yeah, they have Rolls Royces. Of course, it's a Rolls Royce car, like in the UK, like, like that's what they do. But at the same time, like, do they have the convertibles there? It's like, so you whatever. And the truth is how ignorant I am. And also, she is driving like a BMW, honey, living her life in this convertible. She's just like,
Oi, lad.
I yeah, like she's had other cars not like this. She just like is living her best life. She is very close to her mom, like me and mom. And her mom's like, mom and I, which I
Yeah.
thought was so lovely. I love the fact that UK people use the word mummy, mummy. And I think that maybe like East Coast people do. Like, can someone please explain that to me? Like, some white East Coast and UK people use the word mummy, mummy, like a mummy, but that's how they call mommy. Like, my Western vernacular is very it's very like mommy, like mom, it's not like mommy, it's mommy,
You
you
know
know?
that there's like entire studies about linguistics and how different accents came. You know that you could like, if you're interested in that, like fully look it up.
Just, well, yeah, I mean, I've seen Pygmalion and stuff like that, so I figured there was then there's
No,
been a
no,
study of accents,
no. I mean like specifically with the like people who came to America from from England, or people who came from like whatever. Like YouTube will have that to explain like what's the group of people that say mum. I've only heard ma on the East Coast, so I have not heard mum. But yeah, I
Yeah, no, I
love
think
that stuff.
Mass very Italian in New York.
Yeah, I love that. I love that kind of like search of like the way people speak. Like, how, for example, how you've once told me that Deontay and Nicole spoke different Southern accents, and based on the way Deontay spoke, that his Virginia was more like British than hers, and that is actually factually true. That the people in Virginia, because of one of the first colonies, were able to remain. They have like they just lengthen the vowels, but once they shorten them, it becomes a British accent.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I
So
really
yeah.
do like the sound of accents. The hills are
Mhm,
alive
mhm,
in my
mhm.
ears. Okay, so she's yeah, her mom and her have a very close bantery relationship, and they're cute together. Now she does deal with the profound loneliness that eats at us all. And
Yeah.
she does
In
deal with it.
a
It
yeah.
manifests in the kind of way that some women know, which is cats, cat
Mhm,
mom. She's cat
mhm.
mummy, cat mummy and me.
That, and she's I don't know what, like, is she the youngest of her mother's children? Because her mother still feels like she needs to kind of be there with her and be that, like, support. Because I was like, "What, is your mom gonna be a single secondary character as well? Like, why is she in this? Because you don't live with her. She has her own convertible, she has her own house," which I'm
Mhm,
like, is a feat within itself, especially because she says that she's been cutting hair for the last 25 years.
mhm.
Now, that is a real pare down of what she must do. I can't imagine that she's in like Hampshire's version of Sam's, like whatever, the generic place that will folks with hair like that get their hair cut. I can't imagine she's just doing that. Like, she must do something more to have, the kind of like fun and fast lifestyle that she has. But we don't see like exactly what it is that she does, but we do see that while her cats are eating on the dining room table, and I
Mhm,
know that's the first thing Johan is going to do, is kick her cats outside or make them
mhm.
relegated to a specific room. Because if you didn't grow up with pets in the house, you're not about to be in living with somebody who allows that pet to eat on a human surface,
Staring at you. Yeah.
staring at you.
Staring at you and your food.
Which was a mayo sandwich with crackers
Okay.
on top?
Yes, yes, chips. They call them crisps. But yes, it was just Lay's, like their version of Lay's, but not Pringles, but Lay's. Definitely like not kettle chips and didn't look like Doritos, but on top of a white bread sandwich, just layered on top. Now, okay, we all know that like we all have in our lives had a friend that made us like want to try or whatever, put a potato chip in our sandwich
Oh yeah,
on
yeah.
the inside. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm,
Which is
mhm.
basically what she did. But I'm telling you, it looked like just two pieces of bread and chips on top, as if she's going to eat it like an open faced tartine, a chip tartine, or tartone, I don't know. Yeah, like those cats are just right up in staring at that sandwich and those chips being like, wow, why'd you do it? Like, even I have a protein, they say. Um,
That's
so
crazy. Yeah.
she
I'm almost
goes,
30 years old and I need to start thinking about having a kid and my
yes.
friends and like just the desperate loneliness. So then we meet Johan. He
Hmm.
is in the DR and he's a cheeky chap. And his eyes are to die for. And he is one of the entertainers at the have you been to Punta Cana, Chris? Have you been to the DR?
No, I have not, and I want to. I have not, but I mean, we've not. This is Stinky Pinky. Hey,
Yeah.
this is Stinky Pinky.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you been to any Caribbean island?
No,
Um, oh no, period.
period.
Full stop?
Yeah, isn't that so sad?
Yeah.
I know,
Especially for the
I know.
amount of times that you've gone to Hawaii, which is so much more expensive.
Not on the West Coast. Well, I don't know. My dad did whatever. Can I be honest? No, it wasn't. Now looking back, I mean, the man had like Marriott points. He kept going to like a Marriott over and over again. It was like one stop from like I don't think it was that expensive.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the reason why I have always thought of going to Hawaii and I'm like, "Oh my god, but if I the same amount of money that I would spend in Hawaii, I could get like the executive suite in the Dominican Republic." So I just chose to go. Not that I've been a million times. But anyways, so the DR has where they keep you, at least in Punta Cana, where I went, and the resort that I went to, they keep you for the most part in the resort. So there's all manner of entertainment things that these people come out and do. Like
Mm,
they do exactly what he does, where you're sitting out having a good time somewhere and they come up to like offer their services as entertainers. Just, I mean,
flirty,
even telling the
flirtist.
jokes. Yeah, they're flirty men. They come out, they tell you jokes. Even the women come out, they talk to the men or they talk to like it's just about making sure that the guests are having a good time. And we tip them because they make us laugh. They come in and check on us. Like we're at the pool, they're like, "Hey," and then they're like, "We're doing something tonight." So you go to that thing at night, and they're like, "Thank you for coming," and they can fully remember who you are. So you could be there for 5 days and just have a cast of people who work there who are fully there to make your stay better. If you're walking and they're like, "Hey, you coming tonight? Do you need anything right now? Oh, let me get my friend Carlos to help you with that." Like they're very, and you're like, "Yeah, let me tip, 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 tip." So when he came out and he was like, "I'll pay for you," I was like, "No, he's not." But then when he's like, "Give me your credit card," I was like, "This is exactly what he's here to do." She's such a fool. She is such a Stella got her groove back or never had a groove and wants a groove fool for this 21-year-old bebe
21, 2-1.
who has looked at us in his eyeballs. He's not even in his 30s. He's barely out of his teens. And he tells us that his parents and family has taken care of him for all of his life. And I was like, "Sir, you haven't had much of a life for them to
Yeah,
have to." And the truth is that that was their job because they chose to have you.
I mean, yeah.
So you are now saying that now they've taken care of you for all of your life, which is this long, and now
Mm.
you need to take care of them, which I get, but also at the same time, your life is barely begun. So, yeesh.
But yeah, it doesn't bode well, and I agree. And he looks young. That's the like. He looks so young that it grosses me out. You know what I'm saying? Like because he's 21, but he looks 19. He really does. And if he looks 19 from certain angles, he could be 17. You know,
I,
I think so.
I don't know that I've seen a 21-year-old who doesn't look 19. Like just with the way that I know men look now, like I see a wrist and I need a man's wrist. I don't know if at 21, if you're not an athlete who's been like in the gym pumping iron, that you for real are gonna come out looking any way
thick
that isn't
wristed.
that does yeah like a thick neck, a thick wrist, like you know what I mean. Like I just don't know. Like is your facial hair like at its full maximum ability capacity? Because men actually their beard gets thicker, can get thicker as they get old. Like I just a 21-year-old, she is desperate.
Yes. and everyone knows it, and her mom is upset with her, and her friends, like, don't like it or whatever. And you really, that Stella got her groove back, or Stella getting her groove for the first time is really it, like, because she says different things at this, like, meeting with her friend. She's like, "I've never been like this. I just went and came back. I'm a new person." And she, after that, literally have a conversation with her mother where she's basically like, "I have no time left. I'm doing this because I have no other options, and I just, like, can't really get it together, and I want to have kids, and this, so I'm just doing it, mom, because I want it." And this is, like, so effed up, but this is, like, a really horrible, toxic thing that is a pattern of someone saying, "You can't deny me doing this horrible thing. You can't judge me for doing this horrible thing because I'm going to be a martyr for the fact that I don't have what society tells me I should have. And therefore, I'm going to, by hook or crook, get it, even though it's a toxic, bad situation." Like, it's this kind of martyr victimhood of, like, "You can't deny me this horrible decision because what else can I possibly do?" And it's like, here's the thing. You have a lot going for you. Like, like, you have this car, you have a house, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's sad because you sometimes, like, people are going to do whatever they're going to want to do. And that's why people are going to throw crazy justifications at it just to make sure they get at the end of the day what they want, which is what they want to do in the first place, is whatever they're going to do in the first place. And this girl is, like, constantly telling the camera in front of her mom that she's opinionated. And her mom is like, her mom was looking at the confessional camera like Jim from The Office sometimes. There's wild takes from her mom. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, Chris. Like, it was like I was watching this poor lady. She's resigned, and she's like, "Okay, well, let me just say what I know you're not going to listen to, but I got to say it. I would be remiss if I did not say it. You should not do this because he's probably just using you for your money. You're a bright woman with a lot of things going for her. Have you sent the money?" No, I haven't. Now, we already know she has, because the mother, Johan's mother, told us that she's really grateful because she had a surgery and Charlotte was taking care of the medicines every single month to make sure that they had the medicines, right? And so she's like, "No." And then that, dad asked that. And then she literally says, "No, not a lot. Just a little for his passport. I left him a little money when I left the first time. And then I also, like, there was a hurricane and I got the mom a new roof." And the mother was like, "Why did you have to do that?" And she's like, "Well, because I see these people and they're struggling." And the dad's like, "Yeah, well, they would have struggled and figured it out if you hadn't been there to get them a new roof. Like, you didn't have to do that." And she's like, "I know, but I see these, people, and I just, feel like I should help them out. And don't worry, when he comes here, he's going to work, contribute, and then we'll be even Stevens." And I'm like, that's not what's going to happen. He's going to come there first, be super depressed and lonely that he's no longer on a beautiful island, making his own money and being able to do whatever he wants to, walk down to the little store in his little chanclas and come back with, plantanos or whatever. So that shock of being in such a different environment is going to bring that man down to just zero, right? Then he's going to feel pressure to not give money to you, who is already the rich white lady. He's going to feel pressure to send money back home to his ailing mother, who is going to have a whole slew of issues, because when she finds out her son is in the UK, he's in the land of milk and honey. Well, why wouldn't he send all this money back? And why wouldn't Charlotte be so glad to do so? So she thinks, and also he's a young kid. He's a young boy. Also, did you love the fact that, like, his English accent is English? It's like he was like, I'm going to the UK. And
yeah.
It was so weird. I was like, it's going to be so weird listening to somebody have, like, a Spanish accent with also a British accent, or a
Yes.
Oh God, she's.
I wonder how many, like, if there's any, like, DR people that live around her area. Like, she's not in London. I mean, I was, think everyone's in London.
Yeah, she's not. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be even worse.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. God, I can't wait for it. But yeah.
The mom is like, she's like, "Oh, don't you want grandchildren?" She's like, "No, I have enough." She's like, "But I deserve to have children."
I don't want yours.
Too.
I don't want yours.
And
no,
she's
I don't
like,
want yours.
"No, you don't need to have them. Don't worry about it.
Good.
Kids,
I'm good."
It's like, she's like, they're not the. She's like, "Listen, they're not the end all and be all, right? Children." I said, how do you look as a parent, look directly at your child and say, kids are not the end all and be all?
I love this woman. I love this mom. This mom is like so real. I'm glad they have a relationship. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people on this show that will just tell a person up front and like, don't fucking do what you're doing.
Rich is another one.
I mean, don't like what you're doing is the dumbest and don't do it. Like everyone's telling that to Jamie too. They're like, Jamie, you're
Yeah.
the dumbest,
Yeah,
but
so stupid. Okay, let's move on to Jamie. So we have Jamie and Kathleen. Jamie is 33 and Kathleen is older. I
yeah.
want to say Kathleen is 50. Like, I listen,
Ah,
she's just looking bad. Whatever is going on, she's not at the top of her game.
she could do better. I mean, I think that there's some. I think that just dental work alone would like really do a whole, do a bunch of stuff. But basically, Jamie is no prince. Even though he wants to be a little prince, he is playing video games, and
No,
then
hate it.
I mean, just here's the thing. I
Mm-mm.
understand that a whole generation of people play video games. Like people play Fortnite. Like Fortnite is very big. Like I can't deny that like Fortnite is big.
I'm a straight rider. You don't want to mess with me. I can't deny it. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
great. Yeah, you're right. But those people are younger than us.
Here's the thing. I'm now going to start to ascertain a certain set of qualities that will pinpoint my age as being like 5 to 6 years, 5 to 7 years younger than it is now. And I'm telling you, intentionally, I'm doing these things. So you're going to see me intentionally wear socks that show my ankles. You're going to see me intentionally trying to look like, I guess how old Charlotte keeps saying she is.
All of my socks are high. I transitioned.
Okay, well, I mean, my jeans have been there. I've transitioned my shoe wear. I've transitioned, the silhouettes of a younger generation. I'm trying
Mhm.
to like have younger hair, like I'm
Mhm.
making a shift, I'm making a
Mhm.
shift. And it's
Mhm.
again intentional for me to appear younger in society.
Mhm. Me too. Me too. I have been noticing because I have been using my skincare regimen since March 1st. Like I really was like on it. And I have
Mm-hmm.
noticed a distinct difference in the suppleness and the
Mm-hmm.
bounciness of my skin.
Bouncy.
Mhm.
Okay. I am excited about that. Yeah. We should maybe like do a live and go over skincare stuff because I'm really thinking about doing more red light shit. Anyway, what are we talking about? Let me go back to this guy. So then his mom comes in. Okay. And his mom is
The skinniest.
very tiny woman, very tiny, very tan. She bronzes her whole face and then she puts on like a lip jizz style lip gloss, color of jizz, it's
Ugh.
frosty white, like it's a frosty white, foamy white. I mean, she is around. She's just like, no, yeah, it is all over them lips, and she's like giving him snacks and he's like, it's great. I get to have like an adult body and the responsibilities of a boy, and this is just like sad. It's also as it gets on, I think that he's, a little spectrumy anyway. So I think this is what's happening, like he could be like on, interesting, an interesting neurological divergent person to date, and maybe that's been some of his issues because he seems a little regressed in his like connection in human conversation abilities for his age.
His mom, the way I don't know if they planned it this way, but the way she came in, it felt like every 5 seconds with a new thing for him to consume.
Mm-hmm,
It
mm-hmm,
was either they planned that or
mm-hmm.
this was a perfect. She did a great job of letting us know who she was. He
Yes, yes,
says that
yes.
she is the quintessential Jewish mom, and I can just tell you right now, when I think of the quintessential Jewish mom, it is not that lady. So I'd love to see more quintessential London or UK Jewish mothers to see what that actually looks like because she was giving a waspy mom just
She did.
visually.
Yeah, she was almost like Donna Reed from like a different time,
Yeah.
like even with the hair or whatever. But yeah, that was interesting makeup. She and him have a very interesting codependent, insecure relationship that honestly at this point is half her fault, if not more. I think,
Hmm.
and I also it begs the question, like, who else in this family allowed this, because
Mhm.
like this is coming at it full stop, and it's also making his life not full as an adult because of both
Ah,
their choices, and I think, I mean, I hate to say that, but like that is what it is. They're going to play around with this aesthetic, and the truth is this is a thing that is like keeping him from living, because of her neediness, and they
it
have to
sounds
cut
like
the
it's
cord.
it sounds like it's keeping her from living too, because men walk up to her all the time, and it seems, and is like, "Oh my god, is this your if this your girlfriend or whatever?" And he's like, "No, it's my mom." That means like whatever conversation or whatever they're doing is just so borderline romantic that the strangers who approach them can't take it. They are in some kind of garden and home center,
Yeah.
just admiring these gnomes, just admiring all manner of lawn creature, lawn statue.
Yeah. Y- y- I remember gnomes being like more of a thing in like the 80s and 90s, and definitely when trolls happened, they're quite gnome like, but like gnomes are more of a UK thing. Is that why? Is that a
I
thing?
don't know. I don't understand the whole purpose of
You don't
gnomes.
know? Mm,
I don't know the reason why that people enjoy them. I don't even understand. Like I understand putting, for whatever reason, I understand statues in your yard. I get that. I don't know why.
Water
If you
features.
if you wanted to have like, lions around your
Mm,
brick gate, you know what I mean?
mhm,
If you wanted to have a statue of like, I don't know, Mr. Tummalums from the,
mm,
Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, like a little
mm.
fawn.
Saint
I don't
Francis of Assisi.
Yeah, if you wanted to just have the Parthenon in your front yard, like I get those kinds of like homage to your culture, but then to just have like woodland creatures, like a
Mm.
deer, just like posted in your yard, and like
Well, yeah,
in the
kind of
front.
like.
I mean, if you wanted to create a fairy wonderland in your backyard, I get that. But in the front yard, I just don't understand. I don't understand what the purpose of a gnome is at all. But they were looking at them and they're having a good time. And he's like, "Listen, our relationship is beautiful and caring. And sometimes I feel so comfortable that I tell her the naughty stuff." And she's like, "Well, I don't want to know the naughty stuff." And I said, "Thank God someone in this relationship has sense to say on television that she's not into that." And then two, he then starts to laugh, and his laugh is like, "Hey, hey, 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 hey." I remember like his laugh sounds like the actual, if you were to like put on your, like, that's, I was like, stop that laugh.
Yeah, I can't hear that anymore.
Mm-mm.
He can't find a woman in the UK. He says he's dated two other people. One is a lovely Thai lady, and one is a lovely Vietnamese
What?
lady.
A what? A Vietnamese?
Vietnam. I don't know what I am. Vietnam. Vietnamese lady, and unfortunately, both have went the horrible way descent into hell because both ladies wanted money, and he didn't want to give it or whatever. And so then he meets Kathleen. She's from the Philippines, but again moved to Cyprus. And unfortunately, she also wants money, but at the same time, it's like, I hate to say it, like, just like we have to understand the culture we're dating of, they they expect to be taken care of, like Eastern European women expect to be taken care of, and so do Asian women.
Who
On
date grubby UK men like that? Yeah, and
Yeah,
American
but
men.
even yeah, I think that they would be. I think cisgender heterosexual odds are, like they expect them to give them some amount of money. I mean,
I agree. I mean, I
I,
think you would spend money on some taking someone out on a date, so just give that date money to her.
yeah. Also, again, like, there are some protecting, providing situations that like turn a female on, and also culturally represent something to her that he's into her or whatever. It's like, how does he know if he's into you? Like, well, if he's paying for you, it's a good idea. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
Like, if he's not, it's a good idea. Which is
mhm.
true. I mean, like nowadays where everyone's like, oh, go on date, it'll be 50-50. And I mean, maybe if you want to do the first or second, but he would never paid for you, I'd be like, oh, never? You don't want to ever just once? Just but that's me, and I'm a little old fashioned, and by a little I mean a lot. Anyway, God bless. So,
Yeah, I don't live in a
um,
50-50 world, on dates. I don't know, I can't think about a household yet. I'm not let's get past date
oh,
4
I
and
think you
then
meant
we'll
like
start thinking about
sexually. Yeah, he brings up the fact that his mom is jealous of his relationship with Kathleen and that he's into the competition. And he keeps saying that his mom is really negative about it and that and like they had once broken up before and it was due to like the constant negativity from his
Yeah.
family / his mom. He's like, he doesn't say his mom, but it's like very obvious that it's like his mom.
Yeah. So we find out that he works for the city. He is a TFL. And he says the ladies love a man in uniform, and he works a lot of overtime so that he can, I guess, take care of Kathleen. Yeah, so he goes to meet his best friend Rich, and Rich is the definition of monotone. Rich has no inflection to his voice at all. So sometimes you might think that he is not being serious, but he is definitely serious. He says, like, he comes up, he's like, yeah, I felt like I'm back with Kathleen. And Rich is like, oh no. And he's like, yeah, I feel like I was missing a piece of myself. And he's like, yeah, your common sense.
He's quick. He's quick with these one-liners. Dry quick. I mean,
He dropped it
sandpaper.
so quick that
Yeah.
I was like, oh, a read.
The library's open.
I know. A read.
My favorite thing he says is you can't drink poison just because you're thirsty. Yeah, it really, because he's like, listen, I broke up with Kathleen because you guys made me to. He's like, you're lonely. He's like, I'm so lonely. Can't drink poison just because you're thirsty.
I mean, somebody said that to Charlotte too. That's a thing for Charlotte as well. That's what basically.
Mummy.
Yeah, mom, me and mom and I. God, I raised trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the friend is like, listen, I just want to save you from yourself. And he's like, oh, I'm planning to propose. He's like, no, if you were to tell me that you're actually going to propose, I would fight you right now and put you in a concussion. That's what I would do. So don't say it, because I already worked out today and my shoulders are sore. I don't feel like throwing punches. Like, it's just like, that friend is like the best friend, but also the worst friend, He's like, I just want you to be supportive. I want you to be supportive. He's like, I'll support you with this right hook if you ever think.
Yeah.
I need to marry her.
I was like, he's not coming to the wedding. Like, he doesn't give a fuck, like he is not, you are over his dead body. Are you going to like marry this older woman?
Yeah.
All the pictures that she has are so filtered. And then when we see her, we're like, oh, she's like, I'm going to go to a beauty pageant. He's like, you could just be in it though. It could be your life. And she's just like, ah, and he's like, you are so beautiful. And we're just like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, there's no other options? Okay.
No, there's not. He literally says it a bunch of times. I love the also fact that he just left his bank statement on the bed and that mom was just like going through, like smelling his underwear, what she's doing, and just sees this bank statement on the bed. She's like, what? It's just like on constant withdrawals. She's like, there's no need for him to spend money. I cook, I do like, what is he spending any money on? She's like, gambling, hookers. And in a way, the answer is maybe.
Bank statement. You lost me at bank statement. I said, so you get the mail. What do they call it in London? I don't know if they say the mail. They must call it the post. Yeah. You get the post and you're like, oh, my bank statement. And so you sit there and you open the envelope.
Never do
it. I cannot tell you how much mail I get here and I don't even open it. It goes directly into the shredder and then directly into the trash. There's not a moment where and the thing is though, if something popped up right then and there on my phone that said go away with paperless, I would be like, oh yeah, like I wish that something was in the envelope that triggered my phone and asked me if I wanted to go paperless so I could say yes. So the fact that this man sat on his bed and opened it up and then looked at it as though he doesn't know what he spent his money on.
Just like, oh, there was that withdrawal. There was that withdrawal.
We don't live in the time of checks where you could easily forget what you wrote a check for. This is the time of like instant debit and phone apps. So I don't understand why you had to open that at all, unless your mother opened it. I don't know, but like this shit's so weird.
He's a parking attendant. He just like keeps getting like every like overtime. He's like me, like he's just patrolling the streets. He's just writing people tickets left and right. People see him coming like, fuck, it's that guy's gonna fucking, just like constantly getting fights with people like that are running back to their car being like, dude, I just did it. They don't say dude because that's very American. They go, excuse me, I know I did with some baby boop boop, and he's just like, no, I'm giving you a boop boop because I'm getting this like,
bop bop.
Yeah,
So
I'm
then
getting
we
this
can.
whatever like marker he like, I wonder if they have like an agenda, or they have like a number they have to hit,
You do? You wonder that?
Well, because I feel like the answer is yes. Like if they can like make $7,500 per week for people, they should. I mean, like why would they get extra money?
Oh, you're thinking that they work on commission of somehow or get a little bonus if they
A
give
little
enough
bonus
tickets?
if they hit enough tickets and they're just making the city so much money,
Oh,
doesn't it
that
make
would
sense?
be criminal.
Oh, I
That would
know.
be
I'm not
criminal
not in
for the city to do
America,
that.
the
Yeah.
land of the free, but like who knows? The king is all fucked up. We know that.
The Kingsmen, the king, the people for the king. Oh, anyways, let's move on to Sprite and John.
7 Up, Slice and John.
I
A
just
lemon lime John.
and then I was like, is this like are they naming him another woodland creature? Is there a
Yeah.
theme? Is there
Oh,
a
gnomes, honey.
theme?
Yeah, Sprite. Yes, yes,
Sprite.
yes.
Is there a theme? Is it like her with her convertible car and then it goes to gardening because, then it goes to this man named Sprite. Now, Sprite is a little bitchy twink.
Yes, yes, a nerdy twink, and I guess if Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, and Harry Potter all were in one, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Also, every single one of the foreigners is using the British person in
Oh,
this.
absolutely.
Every single one of them.
Yes, yes.
It's so great.
It,
Sprite is using the shit out of John, and John, just like Charlotte, is so desperate.
yeah.
This man called him Fat Thor.
Now we do know that fat isn't so bad well, they're just a little freer with the word fat than other words in other cultures. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it could, maybe he thinks it's chubby and therefore cute too. I'm just throwing that out there.
I mean, if you want to give Sprite some kind of benefit out, okay. So he's a cook, chef from wherever he's from, which is not London. And he moved to Thailand, fell in love with the culture and the language, and then fell in love with Sprite. And so him and Sprite were bouncing around, and he was much thinner then. And he's on the phone with Sprite, and he's like, "Do you miss me? I love you. I miss you." And Sprite's like, thank you. And I'm like, wow. You were on a TV show.
TV show.
And you're like, no, I won't. I will not.
It's just like, I know he likes me more than him. I know he likes me more than I like him, and that's fine for me because I'm getting up there in photography. I like do all of the hot Thai people. They all come to me, and he just wants to be like a fashion slash commercial editorial photographer. And I also love the fact because he's coming to the English countryside. He's also not going to London, and I just wonder how different that life's going to be for him. And I also feel like the minute he gets to London, he'll never come home. He'll never want to come home. Like, if they spend a night in London and they go back home, or if they go back to his place and then go to London, he's gonna be like, we're not leaving London. No, London is where we are now.
Yeah, that's where I need to be. I mean,
Yeah.
his English has gotten better since being with John, so he's gotten a lot of
Yeah.
benefits from being with John, and John has seemingly gotten nothing for him. He wants a stable life, a stable income. He wants to be fabulous in the UK. And so then we go to talking about their how they met, and we see the picture that John put of himself on Tinder, and Sprite was like, wasn't into it, not at all. But I saw an opportunity to talk to a British person, so I said, what's the worst that could happen? And so we started talking to him. Now here's the truth: the picture that you put of yourself on Tinder indicates a lot about you. It either A, shows me your deep-rooted insecurities and how you just choose to put a fun, quirky picture up of yourself because you don't think you have any good pictures of yourself, or because that's the foot you want to put forward, or it shows that you don't understand angles and you believe that taking a picture from below while you're sitting in a car makes you look strong and masculine. Now, we have the first version of what I said. This man is wearing a tie-dye shirt with some kind of flag behind him or some kind of shawl, and he's just like, And that's like a picture you take in college when you're being silly, that I took in college and I was being silly. And I thought was so fun because I was showing my silly side and like being like, like, you know, when you took pictures like that when you were younger, or like surprised, like, you know, somebody would have a camera and you're like, and you take one of those pictures, and then but then you take it a step further and put it on social media as your foot forward, or on a dating website as your introduction, because you want to show how quirky and fun and silly you can be.
Yeah. It's just those things aren't sexy. Those
Not at all.
things are tertiary qualities that when they show up make it hot if you are already secure and or sexy. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are secure, sexy, and a little quirky, God bless. But if you are quirky,
Yeah,
a great chef, a
pull it
great
back.
friend, like, you
Yeah.
know, like you're just not it, you know, like here. And that's the thing, like everyone is more than one thing. You just have to know what to lead forth with that makes you feel good, that makes you feel like you can sit in something while so that you can honor yourself while still getting what you want, you know, because it's a transaction when you're in any sort of like interpersonal relationship or communication, which is what does the other person want and or respond to, and what makes the other person feel at ease. And in a dating situation, yeah, like no one, I mean, no one wants just like college aged, you know, style posing that like you know reeks of, I don't know. I haven't. I don't know myself sexually yet. It's just like it's just not sexy, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but they,
Apparently Sprite
yeah.
has muscle. Did you see any muscle on
No, I
Sprite?
did not. I did not. I
So
did
I
not.
thought that was a big stretch, he said. So we have a
Yeah.
scene where John is preparing himself for Sprite's arrival by laying back with a mask on and cucumbers over his eyes and talking about how insecure he feels about this. And then he gets up and meets with his sister, who I thought was going to be an adult, and that person looked like she was 16. I mean, she might have been 19, which is fine, but it was just like I was not expecting the sister to be very young. And so then we find out that Sprite has had pictures of other people in his phone, and that really broke John down. And John worries now every time Sprite goes out that he's cheating on him. And I was like, he is cheating on you.
Yeah. No, just know it.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And he doesn't love you because he just refused to say it at the time when it was the most important to say it, when a full camera crew was there. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It just,
It's I don't think it's going to go well, but here it is on camera for us.
yeah. And so when Sprite is with him, John feels whole. And I said to him, I wrote in my notes, I said, I'm glad that I was never given a chance to be so desperate.
Oh,
Like, I am glad that everybody that I truly loved and liked never liked me back, because I could have found myself in situations where I was so blindly in love with a person. And if they gave me a modicum of the kind of love that Sprite or affection that Sprite is showing John, they could treat me like shit and I would think that it was okay. And it's taken their rejection and then good situations along the way for me to realize what it is that I want and need and require. And so while the loneliness is here, it's never going to be so bad that I would accept a situation like this.
thank God.
Thank God. So that's the end of episode 1. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see the visuals of what you're listening to, you can join us on patreon.com/docusweeties. Not only do you get the visuals of every episode, you also get a live every first Monday of the month. So if you're interested in that kind of behind the scenes stage stuff, join us on patreon.com/docusweeties for $10 a month. But if you can't do that, if you're just okay with having us tickle your eardrums, Chris will tell you the ways that you can support us on social medias. Chris?
Well, go ahead and follow us at DocuSweeties. We are at DocuSweeties on Instagram, at DocuSweeties on TikTok, at DocuSweeties1 on X. We have a Facebook group, the DocuSweeties Podcast Facebook group, and we are on YouTube, which you might be watching it right now. Then hi. At the same time, though, early access for all our visuals happens on Patreon. And if you haven't given us a review or liked this video or subscribed yet, how I want you to. So just consider it. You know what I'm saying? Consider it. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.